I had been at Harvard for a year when I decided to emulate my peers by adding a respectable quote to the end of my emails. I eventually settled on one from Lewis Carroll's classic, Through the Looking Glass, from the scene in which Alice meets the Red Queen, who is running around in circles. When Alice asks her why she's running around in circles, the Red Queen responds, "Now here you see, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must run at least twice as fast as that." I thought at the very least, this quote would show my recipients that I had read an acclaimed book. But I also chose it because it has personal significance. When I read about Alice as a child, I knew we were very different. She's English. I'm Rwandan, Kenyan, Ugandan, Tanzanian. She's a European with long blonde hair. I'm an African with a short black afro. She spends her afternoons reading books on a riverbank and playing games of croquet by herself. Never mind that she plays them by herself, I thought. What on earth is croquet? I spent my afternoons doing back-breaking housework and feeding the chickens. You almost believed that, didn't you? I was actually quite the irresponsible African daughter, spending most afternoons reading books and pretending to be a boy. So, what do Alice's Wonderland experiences have to do with my time at Harvard? For starters, I think you will all agree that freshman year felt a bit like falling down a rabbit hole. I tumbled through those first months, trying to reconcile my own false starts with my expectations of a Harvard student. Although things did not slow down in later years, I developed a strategy. I simply had to run twice as fast as my fastest speed, which, for better or worse, is much slower than that of most Harvard students. But the questions raised during my Harvard career are even more important than the pace of life. Everywhere there seemed to be a hookah-smoking caterpillar asking, "Who are you?" I often had no good answers to this question. Along with my changing accent, my views on personal and societal issues were in a constant state of flux. In the US Census, should I call myself Black/African American, or should I check the other box? Should I share the Coney 2012 video, or instead point out the many other pertinent issues on the African continent, and indeed the rest of the world? Should I watch the Red Sox game with my friends? Or finally confess my disinterest in any American sport not associated with Harvard-Yale weekend or Jeremy Lin? My identity hinged on these questions, and since I couldn't always answer them decisively, it seemed I could not identify myself. I needed to strike a balance between extreme confidence in my abilities and being intimidated by impressive peers. When I heard of other people's accomplishments, my ego often shrank so fast, it felt like I had drank from a small Wonderland bottle, suspiciously marked, "Drink me." I also had to keep my ego from swelling beyond recognition. If you think dropping the H-bomb here is challenging, Try East Africa, where Yale truly is an afterthought. Thankfully, it often suffices to say I go to school in America. You go to school in America? Wow. How's Obama? I want to come. Can you help me? It seemed like my head could never find its ideal size, if ever there was one. As my adventures in Harvard land come to a close, I have to confront Pauline from 2008. She is echoing the caterpillar's incessant question, who am I? How has Harvard shaped me? Despite all the uncertainty I have experienced, I look back on my Harvard career with a Cheshire smile. You see, unlike Alice, I did not journey alone. From the frantic rush of freshman year to the slothfulness of senior year, my family, friends, and advisors always walked with me. My friends convinced me that I was not completely batty, and when that did not work, that being batty really isn't that bad. My advisors, tutors, bosses, and TFs gave me reality checks. And after hearing about my Wonderland obsession, they'll realize they acted just in time. And of course, there's always family. To be fair, I did have two families. If you can get past the identity crisis that comes with being an international student, you will discover the joys of having a loving American host family in addition to the Rwandan one that took all your nonsense growing up. As I traveled, I learned that Harvard is not the wonderland where things always work like magic. It is the wonderland where we tirelessly question the beliefs and assumptions that used to define us. A place where we try to make sense of a world that often seems quite absurd, knowing that hard work, not magic, will solve its problems. In the process, we all learned one or two things about who we are. These are the most valuable lessons we will apply to our lives and to the people we hope to touch. Finally, if all the good-natured orations today do not inspire you to greater heights, I urge you to follow the White Queen's advice. Start believing at least 6 impossible things before breakfast. If you are anything like me, at least 6 of those things will be events that allowed you to be here today, a Harvard graduate against all odds. Dream on, Harvard class of 2012. Thank you.